Do you remember your first crush? The first time you got that tight feeling inside your chest when you looked at or were around a certain someone? The delusions you had of going on dates with them and the future that you could build with endless possibilities of happiness together? That feeling of your first love. That first love that made you consider another person something different than family, stranger, or friend. Maybe you got caught up on that love so much in your head to the point where you couldn't think straight, and sometimes they'd be the only thing that you would think of. That innocent, romantic love that exists in fairy tales and rom-coms and made you feel like the protagonist of a shoujo manga. Or maybe you never felt that sensation, or are just content with not seeking out a partner. Either way, it's February, the month of love, and what better way to spend it by talking about a romance one-shot in which a good percentage of people, and myself included, will never be able to relate to past the first stage. Sukidesu Futte Kudasai, or Please Break My Heart by Torii Shizuku, is a Yuri romantic comedy one-shot that tackles the struggles of romantic crushes and how love can consume oneself to the point where it drags you down from your normal day-to-day life. Hikari Kurata is a first year in high school and has always had the dream of becoming successful and eating ice cream in a penthouse, living in a low-class household and without a father her whole life. Okay, short pause here. For whatever reason in the script I wrote the main character's name as Hikari, but it's actually Hikaru. I don't know how I wrote and recorded an entire script getting one letter wrong, but just bear with me because I'm going to be saying her name incorrectly for the entire video. So, sorry about that. In order to make her dream come true, she devoted herself to studying, going so far as to make it into a prestigious school while being at the top of her class during the entrance exams. Hikari is the model academic student, a representation of perfection through her academics and childlike innocence when it comes to the pursuit and ideals of her dreams. That perfection and innocence are then broken by Hikari discovering her first love, another girl in her class, Kairi Kira. Hikari fell in love with Kairi at first sight, and soon afterwards her academics begin to slip, even to the point where she fails seemingly easy tests. It's a fairly standard rom-com-like representation of how falling in love seeps into your daily life and even inhibits some of the most mundane activities like studying. That love that Hikari feels fractures her perfectionism and innocence in love. She's constantly thinking about Kairi. Hikari's mother always taught her to not fall in love because it can make people go crazy, and in a way, Hikari's crush on Kairi is doing that exact thing. For the first time, Hikari is understanding what it feels like to have a crush, and her emotions and predicament, albeit played up and exaggerated, is something that many people could relate to when they develop a crush. Suddenly a spotlight has been shown on that person. You become more aware of their presence, and may even have thoughts about that person because to you, it's almost like a fascination. The way that Kairi is portrayed in the beginning of the story even reflects that idealized picture of a crush that people can get. A different kind of perfection that someone perceives in their mind when they think of the person that they crush on. A perfection that's unattainable and one that's flawless. She's even been approached by many other students but has rejected them all. Hikari confesses to Kairi that she has a crush on her and wants Kairi to reject her so she can move on and continue getting back on track with her studies while explaining her dreams and motivations to do so. And of course, while any normal person would hesitantly go along with it or even reciprocate those feelings, in typical rom-com fashion to subvert expectations, Kairi accepts, but offers to be her girlfriend and even go on a study date. Her reason being that surely the same thing would happen if Hikari ended up falling in love with someone else. So at least if Hikari is with Kairi, then she could learn to manage her emotions to get her grades back up. Even if this is just a pretend or temporary relationship, Hikari would naturally want to try and become a real couple with Kairi while achieving her dream. It's even a little reassuring to Hikari because she sees that Kairi is trying to help her get over her overwhelming feelings. It's another reflection of that innocent, teenage kind of romantic love where you try to imagine yourself with that person in the future. Unfortunately, Hikari ends up failing her makeup exam, and her mind is still clogged with the thought of Kairi. She decides that it's probably a good idea to focus on studying for the meantime when she overhears another student confessing to Kairi, a boy who also fell in love with Kairi at first sight. Kairi then tells him that love at first sight is nothing more than lust, and that it's disgusting. Overhearing this exchange, Hikari wonders why Kairi was being so nice to her and even offered to go on a date. Kairi's facade is finally revealed to Hikari and us, the reader. the betrayal of finding out who Kairi really is. Not only of that idealistic image of her being broken, but that she probably thought Hikari was disgusting too. That betrayal hurts your trust and your heart, and the regret of being played by the person you cherished. All of those feelings that you gave them now come back to bite you. Love can make you blind to lies, but if those lies are hidden, then you'd be willing to put your trust into them. We're only ever able to see into the mind of Hikari, except for one page, which helps in building up the twist because we don't know what Kairi is thinking. We only ever see things from Hikari's perspective, the romantic vision from the beginning, the playful smiles that must have meant nothing than a friendly exchange, and Kairi's willingness to help her. They were all illusions that she had and never thought to see through. Hikari finally accepts that Kairi was just leading her on this whole time and confronts her about it. While she was deceived by Kairi, knowing that the love was short-lived and that she technically got what she wanted can help her move on. It sucks to be rejected or find out that someone didn't really love you, but finding acceptance in that fact is what helps us move on from our past crushes and relationships, even ones as short as Hikari's. But Kairi doesn't let Hikari move on from her, as she takes charge and kisses her. While Kairi's opinion of love at first sight remains the same, she wants Hikari to keep thinking about her, to keep obsessing over her, because the thought of Hikari being so infatuated with her to the point where she falls from grace is exciting. Kairi has no intention of breaking up with Hikari and just wants to see her continue to crumble, just from the thought of her. Love doesn't only make you crazy, but the other party as well. And sometimes, it can bring out a different kind of crazy. Overall, Please Break My Heart is a pretty standard but well-executed Yuri toxic love story. It's a nice and short read that starts as an innocent teenage romance into a darker toxic love where the dominant figure wants to see the other person crumble. The theme of love being a force that can consume you, whether it be through your own emotions or the other person's vices, is an interesting takeaway that I haven't seen yet. Forgive me for not being well versed in the Yuri and toxic love genres. I'm sure there are webcomic fans screaming at me. And if this one-shot was all that we had of this story, I would have thought it pretty solid on its own. Except, this manga received a serialization. The original one-shot Sukidesu Futte Kudasai was published in Comic Yuri Hime, a Japanese Yuri manga anthology magazine by publishing company Inchijinsha Inc., who's currently owned by Kodansha. The one-shot was featured in Yuri Hime's March 2024 magazine and received a short serialization starting in November 2024 up to June 2025 titled Yume to Koi de wa Tsuriawanai, or Love and Dreams Don't Mix. It ran for 8 chapters, including the one-shot as the first chapter, with a slightly changed beginning and some small edits throughout the chapter as well. Remember how I talked about the one-shot being about how love can drag you down? Well, that was only part of the thematic analysis because the full story is actually more nuanced than the ending of the one-shot would make you believe. I don't want to spoil everything because I think that this absolutely deserves your attention, but I'd like to highlight a couple things that I like about the manga as a result of Torii being able to fully realize the story. Spoiler warning, obviously. While the story only has 8 chapters, it being a short story and fitting into a single volume actually works well with keeping the through line straight and wrapping up the loose ends that are created from the original one-shot and the very early chapters. It was a little sad finishing this short manga and knowing that we don't get to see more of Hikari and Kairi, but it's not needed because their story and arcs are completed by the end. While I'm not that versed when it comes to Yuri romance, there are many other romance mangas and animes that suffer from having a lot of fluff in the middle and have a very roundabout way of getting to the end. Yume Koi is short and sweet, and you get to have that satisfaction in the end without all that padding. The ending of the one-shot would have you believe that this is going to be a somewhat toxic relationship, but it's actually more complicated than that, and Kairi is more of a soft dom if anything. Speaking of Kairi, I think her character becomes really well-rounded by the end. Following the end of the first chapter, we're meant to believe that she's a heartless beauty when it comes to love, but we get a peek behind the curtains when we get to see her backstory in chapter 4, and we get to see her sort of mellow out and understand why she acted this way in the beginning. I know to some people that might be disappointing, but I actually think it works well for her character journey, in showing how love ruined her too. The contrast between her reserved personality and Hikari's passionate and awkward personality ultimately ties into the theme of acceptance. Acceptance of yourself, acceptance of your flaws and others, the acceptance of your actions, and the acceptance of love. Love can be something that's difficult to take in, and it's not without its struggles. Yumekoi's nuance in approaching love is well executed, and its message about how love is something that can consume you, yet also being something that's worth accepting is a perspective that a lot of people can take in and relate to, whether it be based on previous experiences in relationships or crushes. Torii Shizuku, the mangaka of Please Break My Heart and Yumekoi, has a decent online presence and has been sharing their original mangas and doujinshis since 2015 on Pixiv. Like Yumekoi, most of Torii's stories are Yuri focused. I would love to read these, seeing as Torii has a significant amount of original stories, but they're all in Japanese. In addition to their original works, they also have doujinshis based off Hatsune Miku Project Sakai and Love Live. Torii also has 2 Twitter accounts where you can find more of their art if you're interested. Yumekoi was Torii's official manga magazine debut, and I always think it's great seeing smaller artists get their chance to move up in the world and getting the recognition they deserve. I even bought a physical copy just because I love this manga so much and wanted to support the official release. In the back of the book, there's some extra insight on the making of Yumekoi, and apparently this manga was originally going to have a darker codependency ending, which arguably fits the tone that the initial one-shot's ending had set. This story is still a rom-com, however, so I think the changes suggested by the editor were overall more satisfying from a narrative and character development perspective. If you're interested in checking out Torii's art, links to their Pixiv and Twitter will be in the description. Romantic love is just as potent as it is cherishable, and it's only through time and experience that we can find out if the relationships we've developed end up being long-lasting and healthy. But that love is also instinctive. It's something that you give out and take in naturally. It can make us crazy, and it can make us feel comforted all the same. It pains us, and it brings us joy. The innocence of young, inexperienced love is what helps us learn how to cherish the emotions that we feel and are given. Finding out what it means to consider another person that's different from a friend and family. But as wonderful and exciting as young love is, we won't ever mature without heartbreak. The strife and stress of love helps us learn what and who we value. From the tiniest arguments to the breakups and rejections, we mature and continue developing our definition of love, what we choose to cherish. We learn how to move forward, whether it be in the path of the single life, how to let your love blossom again, or into something even more beautiful. Love isn't something that can be completely disregarded because it's part of what makes us and what we are, even if it's something that you've decided to move past. Love is never a smooth ride. It often gets in the way and makes us do things that are contradictory to our values and comfort. But there's also much more to discover about ourselves and other people through embracing it. If there are any one-shots you'd like to see me cover in the future, feel free to let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll see you again, and take care.
I gave you my heart. Woo, we're having fun now, Leah. So don't go breaking my heart. Don't go breaking mine.